I'm Dr. Camille Cohen. I will be presenting on the 3 silent killers of vision. I always like to just start off with introducing myself. I am a first-generation Jamaican American, grew up in Miami, Florida, earned my Bachelor of Science from the University of Miami in 2007, earned my doctorate in 2014 from what's now called Drexel, Salus at Drexel University. And I've done a lot of work with mentorship and with community service here in New York and in Jamaica, the country, not Queens, which has thankfully allowed me to be recognized in different ways. I became a fellow of the American Academy of Optometry in 2022 and currently serve as the chair of the Fellowship Engagement Committee. I joined Union Square Eye Care June of last year after closing my office in Brooklyn, New York. I now work at both locations and today being at the Harlem office. And also I always like to say, whose am I? So I have here featured my beautiful grandmother, Miss Perdita Davis in Clarendon, Jamaica. I like to identify as a faith believer, daughter, sister, granddaughter, niece, aunt, friend, colleague, and mentor. I'm also a fiance now, about to be a wife soon. But my grandmother was the center of our universe. She raised 7 kids and at least 10 of her grandkids. Every summer we went down to Jamaica to spend the summer with her. She was always either feeding her chickens or cooking or sewing or cleaning, just always preoccupied with taking care of everyone. I can recall the day getting the call that she had a stroke, and we would find out later that she had this stroke because she didn't want to burden or stress anyone out with sending her money for medication. She was splitting her diabetic medication in half, and we didn't know. And she ended up having this massive stroke and a few weeks later passing away. This left such a hole in our lives because we were obsessed with her. So when all the grandkids got around her, like everyone was either tickling her or just had to be on her or wanted to fight over who could cuddle or sit next to her. It still affects the family to this day. I wanted to touch on that because as women, I think it is common for us to want to show up in all of our roles as daughters, as granddaughters, as mothers, as aunts, as teachers. We want to care for everyone, but we tend to put ourselves last. We tend to put the needs of everyone else, thinking, oh, I have to show up in these spaces to take care of these people. And I've had these conversations with patients when I say, what if something happens to you? Then what happens to everyone? You're so busy caring for everyone without acknowledging that by caring for yourself, that's the way that you actually care for everyone. So just keep that in mind. I wanted to address, are glasses a hoax? Oh, glasses are going to make your vision worse. Just don't wear them. Just go out into the world blurry. You'll make your eyes stronger. As someone who has been wearing glasses for over 30 plus years, at this point, I can tell you that is a lie. Why do we need glasses? We are correcting what's called refractive error. We're correcting basically the change in shape of the front of the eye. That allows us to see which train is coming and how far away is it. That allows us to walk up and down subway stairs without missing a step. That allows us to read more clearly. It allows us to working on screens as many of us do now. It allows us to thread a needle. There are so many things that we need glasses for. And actually by choosing not to wear the glasses, you are most likely causing eye strain, possible headaches, and making it that much more difficult to do day-to-day tasks. This also goes with the idea of, oh, what's the whole thing with blue light lenses? I think that blue light lenses have their place depending on the patient. If you are someone who is a migraine sufferer, blue light lenses might be important. For migraine sufferers who are extremely light sensitive, maybe tinted lenses are important for you. They're extremely important for kids as their eyes are developing, which I'll touch on some more later. But please do not deny yourself or your kids the benefits of what glasses can do as far as correcting vision. Now, I've worked with the National Optometric Association, whose mission is to advance the visual health of minority population. Their public health initiative has been the 3 Silent Killers initiative, which really focuses on 3 diseases that are plaguing predominantly Black and brown communities. And that would be glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, and hypertensive retinopathy. So outside of glasses, even more important would be getting your annual eye exam to screen for each of these diseases. We're going to start here with glaucoma. I'm going to show you different images which have been taken mostly from the National Institute of Health, but this would be your optic nerve, that thing that looks like a sun. I always like to say to patients, we're measuring a size ratio when we're looking at your nerve. Your nerve is like a long extension cord. This is how it looks in the back of the eye, but it's this long cord that connects the eye to the brain. It's mostly responsible for your side vision. And with that, when it's larger, I always say the donut hole is larger than 30 to 40% of the donut, we start to get concerned about glaucoma. Glaucoma usually is symptomless. You won't feel anything. You will usually just slowly lose vision. It can start with taking away side vision and slowly creep until you have no central vision. And the problem with this is because it's often painless. There are times you can have some pain, but most times there aren't any symptoms. When people come in complaining of this new blurriness or obscuring of vision, I get really nervous because that usually means that the glaucoma is so advanced they've already lost the vision. And it's always best we're proactive than retroactive, because when there's damage to the eye and something like this, there's no way to get it back. Is it something that runs in families? Absolutely. Ask your family members what they have. I know that can be tricky because half the time they don't know what they have, but it is something, especially with a first degree relative being a mother, father, siblings, or grandparents, that's where we are concerned. We know through research that the Black and Hispanic Latino populations are 4 to 5 times more likely to go blind from glaucoma. So that's also one of the more important screening tests, even more than glasses to me, when you come and get an eye exam. Next would be diabetic retinopathy. To this day, it's been holding the #1 spot in the United States for causing blindness in working age adults. They've now increased the range from 18 years old to about early 70s. It is the #1 cause of blindness. If you or someone you know is diabetic, for those of you who like to say, I'm just pre-diabetic, if you're taking diabetic medication, you are diabetic. If your A1C is higher than the norm, I had to have a long discussion because their A1C is over 10%, and I had to discuss with them the possibility of a stroke. You must get a dilated eye exam if you are diabetic, at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. Again, this is a photo of the back of the eye for someone who has advanced diabetes in the eye. All those red spots are hemorrhages. The white spots would be exudates or the mess coming out of the blood vessels. When that sugar is too high, that blood is too thick and can't flow through the blood vessels appropriately, essentially it just starts leaking out from the vessels. We know that if we have bleeding like this in the eyes, based on research, then we also have bleeding in our kidneys. We also have bleeding in our organs. So when you go to your primary care doctor and they discuss your diabetes, they always say, hey, when was your eye exam? This is why they're asking that. You should be getting dilated. It's the best way for us to know what's happening inside your organs without cutting you open. It was between the ages of 45 to 70, but they have extended that. It's still the #1 cause of blindness, and it is extremely important that you get screened every year to check for any bleeding or swelling in the eyes. Similarly, that hypertensive retinopathy is something that can be quiet. With diabetes, I should also mention, while it can be quiet, it can be asymptomatic. Sometimes certain symptoms, people come in asking for a new glasses prescription, but it might be the sugar's too high, causing blurring of vision. Transient ischemic attack, or TIA, is a mini stroke, and that can look as simple as, oh, my vision was blurry for 5 to 10 minutes and came right back. That is an emergency. That's something to come in right away and get checked, especially as a diabetic, because that's your body's way of telling you that it cannot withstand the higher glycemic levels. Hypertensive retinopathy is extremely dangerous because oftentimes we don't know that our blood pressure is too high. And let's be mindful that they actually changed what's considered high blood pressure a few years back. So normal blood pressure is 120/80 when you get your blood pressure checked. High blood pressure stage 1 is 130 to 139/80 to 89. So a lot of people often say, I just have a little touch of pressure. A touch of pressure could kill you. So let's be mindful that look at those numbers and pay attention, because that's letting you know whether or not what you're doing currently to manage it is working. Stage 2 hypertension is 140 or higher over 90 or higher. A hypertensive crisis, and I see so many people come in with blood pressure this high, is greater than 180 over greater than 120. You are basically a ticking time bomb at this point. We know that across all races, heart disease remains the #1 killer for men and women. So be mindful of your blood pressure. If your doctor prescribes certain medications, it's important that you're compliant with your follow-up care. I am a huge proponent of lifestyle changes. Are you walking? Are you drinking water? Are you doing all the other things necessary? I hear so many people say, I hate taking medication. Drink water then. Still take the medication. But if you want to lessen your medication or have the possibility of coming off of your medication, be mindful of what lifestyle changes can you do to also affect that. This photo shows you there's a different type of bleeding that can occur with hypertensive retinopathy. The bleeding, we almost say it looks feathery. You can have a stroke of the eyes where there's a lack of blood flow because of that higher blood pressure, just as well as you can have bleeding in the eyes. So this can cause permanent vision loss. But more importantly, we're not just talking about saving your vision, we're talking about saving your life. Because when we see this in the eye, we know that there's a higher probability of someone having a heart attack or stroke. So coming back to what I was mentioning with children, we want to provide for our kids, whether that is a child you birth or a child you're taking care of, you're part of that village with that child, you teach, anything like that. So many kids right now, we are in a different type of crisis. Children are often now on screens from infancy, which is having a detrimental effect to their vision. You can consider as adults, if you've been on the screen too long, sometimes you might get a little headache, your eyes start feeling funny or heavy, you feel things are blurrier at the end of the day for distance and up close. You're a fully formed human, you're an adult, your eyes have already developed, probably leveled out. For children whose eyes are still developing, this is causing irreversible damage to the eyes. We are seeing myopia or nearsightedness go up by more than 50% in children because of tablets, games, phones, devices. I understand, I've babysat and I've been guilty of it. Sometimes it's nice to keep them quiet and hand them that tablet or the phone. I want you to take into consideration what that's doing to their eye health long term. Children who can't see well often can't tell you they don't see. How would they know? That's the only way they've ever seen. I got my first pair of glasses at 7 years old in first grade. I had no idea I was blurry. I just knew I wanted to keep moving closer to the board. And having glasses was life-changing because, oh, wow, trees have leaves. There's not just like a green carpet on the ground, like grass has blades. There's actually more detail. 1 in 4 school-age children has an undiagnosed vision problem, meaning that they are probably not doing as well as their counterparts because they're not seeing well. Usually also relates to lack of self-esteem because you aren't able to keep up with certain tasks. Most likely your coordination isn't great. You're usually not as good at sports because you can't see a ball, or your eye-hand coordination is because your eyes aren't seeing as well. In poor socioeconomic communities, that 1 in 4 shoots up to 85% of school-age children having an undiagnosed vision problem. Like I mentioned, scholastic achievement, self-esteem, and athletic ability are greatly impacted. So not just coming in for your own health and making sure you're coming for your eye exam. What we talked about with glasses correct nearsightedness as well as farsightedness, which your child can also be not only nearsighted but farsighted, which is harder to diagnose because when you say to them, oh, you can see that bus down the street, sure they can. But a farsighted child can see the bus down the street but can't read. They're getting headaches. Words are blurring out when they try to focus. And when we talk about, again, the blue light glasses, the reason that's important is because they're exposed to screens at such a young age while their eyes are still developing. We know that is one way to help slow down any progression, help to diminish headaches and eye strain. So for the whole family, it is important to make sure that each year everyone's coming in for their annual eye exam, not just to correct for what we talked about, refractive error with wearing glasses, but make sure that we're screening for any signs of systemic issues that may show up in the eye, such as glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, or hypertensive retinopathy. I am Dr. Camille Cohen, located at Union Square Eye Care, both in Union Square downtown and in Harlem.
Do you see people that get diagnosed with diabetes from an eye exam, or is that something that, that's something that that'll be your first indication?
Yes, I've had few people get a little grumpy with me. I mentioned before, diabetes, when the sugar is too high, it can change different parts of the eyes and cause swelling in what's called the lens of the eye. The lens is this, I call it the peanut of the M&M. So it's in the center of the eye. It's this clear lens. And when the sugar's high, it gets swollen, which can change your prescription. So people will come in and say, oh, my vision's blurry. I need glasses. And just scoping them, I'll say, this doesn't make sense. So we'll do a dilation and look and see bleeding. I'm like, you're diabetic. They'll say, no, I'm not. Yes, you are.
It's like I can
um,
see it. Yes.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're diabetic. And if your sugar comes down, the vision will get better. I understand how it's not intuitive, right? Because I think
Sure.
we take for granted how much the body connects. So those same blood vessels, the bleeding you saw in those pictures, those are the same blood vessels coming from the body. And that's why it's so crucial, because if it's happening in the eyes, we know it's happening in the body.
Gotcha. I thought that was a really good reminder that eye exams are a reflection of other parts of the body. Sometimes we think of those things, especially since you go to different doctors for them, as being these like separate extra things. It's, that's reflective of the rest of your physical health as well.
Exactly. If it's an injection going in the eye, most commonly that would be either for a diabetic or someone with macular degeneration. That's
Gotcha.
usually to reduce any edema or swelling happening in the eye secondary to one of those diseases. So, an injection into the eye would be for very advanced diabetes, where we're having significant swelling that it has the potential to cause blindness. And the injection would be an anti inflammatory to bring that swelling down. Union Square Eye Care is a multidisciplinary practice. I think at this point we have 16 providers, including optometrists and ophthalmologists. We have doctors specializing in neuro-ophthalmology, anterior segment, oculoplasty, as well as refractions and general primary care. So both locations have amazing providers and can provide full care.
Or other illnesses that get diagnosed through eye exams that are,
Oh, absolutely. Lupus can be diagnosed through the
oh,
eye.
wow.
Not as prevalent nowadays because of the medication, but absolutely HIV and AIDS can be diagnosed through the eye. But that's
Mhm.
usually for advanced. That was much more common, I would say, in early 90s, because thankfully patients are under control. It's rare to see retinopathy to that level. You can diagnose cancer through the eyes, whether it's
Wow.
cancer of the eye, or if someone, say, has possible colon cancer, there are signs that show up in the eye during a dilation. So
Wow.
there are so many diseases. You can usually tell if someone has a history of substance abuse based on plaques being in the blood vessels. You can tell history of trauma through the eyes because of scarring that shows up in the eyes. So many different things.
Wow.
Medications, as they pass through, certain medications can change the back of the eyes as well, and the front of the eyes.
That's amazing. I had no idea. So make sure that you are thinking of that as part of your annual wellness.